The best coaches in the game, we really ain't playing. We regroup up in the Slack chat where the coaches debrief. We be piecing these puzzles, occupy the chunk of the pie. Ain't no lie when we hit the block, helmets, casket is top. You be seeing helmet after helmet, helmet after helmet. First place, second place, fifth place, eighth place, 12th place, 15, 16, 20. So many helmets, you got blurred vision, we got...
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another DFS Army Bold Call Fantasy Football Podcast. Today, we are previewing the rookie class and taking a look at the NFL 2021 draft overall. My name is Kevin Allen, a.k.a. The Geek, and I've got my man, the Encyclopedia Footballica himself, a man who spends more time tape studying rookie NFL players than you do watching porn on YouPorn. That's right. I know what you're up to, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I know what's up. Not you, it says. You, the viewer. More time than you guys do. That's a lot of time. Now, we are, of course, brought to you by DFS Army.
Talking to that mic so the people could hear you.
Yeah, we are brought to you by DFS Army, and you can sign up for DFS Army with promo code SAYS to get all of your daily fantasy sports goodness. And we are presented today by Drafters. Drafters is a best ball and rank 'em daily fantasy sports site. And let me tell you guys, they have an early best ball champion. You got to go check out Drafters. They have an early best ball championship going, which locks on the day of the NFL draft. There's $30,000 in prizes. It's a $5 buy-in contest. And there are only 3,000 of 6,000 entrants. There is overlay. And it's going to be a ton of overlay. If you don't know what overlay is, it's free money. You're going to be in a contest designed for 6,000 entries. And there will probably only be about 4,000 entries. And it says, what's the math on this? Okay. Supposed to be 6,000 people. You got only 4,000 people. That means what percentage of the tournament is empty? Hit me with it real quick. You should know this.
So it's 4 divided by 6, essentially. So it means about a third.
All right, a third. You nailed. I was gonna make fun of you when you got this wrong. I had a whole plan of ripping on you, and you messed that up for me.
Well, I did it on the calculator on my phone.
Oh yeah, it's cheating, of course, because there was no way you were getting that just by in the top of your head. No.
I'm pretty good at math, but I'm not as good as you guys. I'll admit that.
It says, all right. Let me just for the audience so you guys understand. Alan was a school teacher,
a PE
but he
teacher.
taught gym. Okay. Right. That's where they send, listen, you go teach the gym. We don't want you in the classroom with the chalk and the eraser. You just go watch.
It shows you how long it's been since you've been in school, because there's no such thing as chalk. It's all whiteboard now.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't.
It's actually all touchscreen now.
Thankfully,
touchscreen. Yeah.
Thankfully, I have nothing to do with that. All right. So today, guys, go check out Drafters. I'm telling you, it's overlay. It's free money. It's an awesome contest. You got to get in there. $5. Yeah. What's the promo code?
DFS Army is our code. You get 25% deposit match.
DFS Army promo code. It's a free money contest. I just strongly recommend it. And we're going to give you some pointers today on some players in the NFL rookie draft that are going to help you crush this tournament. So double whammy. All right. So says we are 1 week away from the NFL draft. Things are starting to come together a little bit, but not fully. We're still not sure of some things, but we feel pretty confident about the first 2 picks in the draft. I think pick 3, it already goes awry. So let's kind of give a little bit of a preview of the draft. I don't care about defensive players. Going to be honest with you. Don't give a shit. I play fantasy football. I don't play IDP fantasy football. If you do, you ain't my kind of people. I don't like IDP.
I don't like IDP people either. I really don't like them.
I don't like the people. Let's not offend 0.1% of our audience.
I'm only kidding, IDPers. I love you.
There's one guy who I hate IDP. I don't want to.
I really don't like it. I don't like
the format either. We already discussed on a previous show the ultimate format for fantasy football is Superflex, two flex spots. We've already gone over this.
Yes.
So let's get into this draft because you actually recently completed a mock draft as part of another podcast with a Superflex. What was that? A Superflex?
Superflex. So basically, if you're in a dynasty league, which if you're watching this podcast, you probably love Dynasty. You play all year round. You're going to be in your rookie draft right after the real NFL draft. So most of us play in super flex leagues. That's what we talk about when we talk about our currency. And I participated in a rookie super flex mock draft. It was very interesting to see the results in a year where there's actually 5 viable quarterbacks in this draft.
I was legitimately surprised at how that mock went down. And you were with some big hitters, some real.
Some experienced players, real experienced players.
So in your draft, of course, Johnny Lawrence, he'll burn your food like Florence. All right, I won't do it again.
Johnny Lawrence. Johnny Lawrence is from the Karate Kid. You mean Trevor Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence.
Johnny Lawrence, in all fairness, we're all watching the Karate Kid.
Love Karate Kid.
Yeah, what's it called? What's the new one called? Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai, but love it. And I rewatched with my kids all of the original ones. So much nostalgia. It gets you the nostalgia tingles. Like, it's just great, right? You remember being a kid watching it. Ralph Macchio basically still looks like a kid. He's 60. I don't understand. This guy never ages. It's weird. All right.
So, but by the way, do you have put your headpiece in? Because I hear myself echoing through your speaker. But
I don't have a headpiece, man.
Well, I'm just telling you, there's going to be an echo on this podcast.
There's no way.
All
right. So let's get right into this. Trevor Lawrence, he's going first.
In 99% of drafts, he's going to be the first player, not because he has this super high upside, which he does, but it's more because of his solid floor. There's always someone that can't miss, right? Like we all thought, like you name your player that can't miss. Trevor Lawrence is very high. All draft picks are, this Geek, is their probabilities. That's all draft picks are. It's like, so when you go down the line, each one has a different probability. Trevor Lawrence has a very, very low probability to fail. So I would say at very least, he is probably a top 13 quarterback this season. And then every year.
Let's take a look at this overall, because we're talking about the real NFL draft. That's a foregone conclusion. Trevor Lawrence will be the first.
I'm saying
overall
in your
pick.
super flex,
but in your super now, a lot of people who don't play super flex are looking at us like, "What? I'm not taking no quarterback first." When you play in a super flex league,
define what that is. If you think people watching this don't know, then you could certainly tell them. I think everybody watching this knows at this point.
No, they should know. But let me emphasize it in a different way. Much in the same way that I made a lot of money for a lot of years waiting on quarterbacks in regular fantasy football leagues before that was commonly accepted. And this, I have a point I'm going to. Before that was commonly accepted, like your friends in your home league were still taking Peyton Manning with the first pick overall. As a matter of fact, even experts like the Matthew Berrys of the world.
Oh, you're never going to let Matthew Berry live that one down.
We're ranking guys like we're telling people you should take Michael Vick or Peyton Manning with the first overall pick, or a first round pick. And so the beauty of the whole situation with waiting on quarterback, and I have a point here, was for many years that not only was this the cheat code for winning regular fantasy football leagues, but no one seemed to figure it out. Like only the precious few understood this, and the rest simply could not accept that the big name player, the quarterback, should be waited on, right? And again, I can give you plenty of examples of guys who did. So here, the Superflex League turns that in reverse. People now are so conditioned to wait on quarterbacks that they don't understand the value of the quarterback in the Superflex League is miles above and beyond the other values because there you go. Because the scarcity of the position is even scarcer or equally as scarce as running back, and now you need 2 of them. So why was running back always the guy that you really wanted? Why was that our cheat code, taking running back before quarterback for years in regular leagues? Because there were only 32 of them. You needed at least 24 starting in your league, and many leagues are starting actually 32 because you have the flex. So like, where are these guys? There aren't that many. There's probably only 15 of them that are even quote unquote workhorses. And of that group, maybe only 7 or 8 are very good. So there are a precious few elite running backs in the league. What you don't realize, there are a precious few elite quarterbacks as well. We think like, there's like 15, 17 quarterbacks. That's not enough. You need 2 elite quarterbacks on your team to have a chance, because the quarterback position produces anywhere from 20 to 30 fantasy points every single week. there's no other position that could replicate it. Like, you don't have a great QB2. He's getting you 15s. What are you going to do? Put a wide receiver in there? He's getting you 7 one week and 23 the next. It's too crazy. So
yeah, it's like take like quarterback like 18, someone like Derek Carr, for example. If you were ranking Derek Carr among the wide receivers, he would be a top 12 wide receiver. So just by getting, a marginal quarterback that would be on the waiver wire in your one quarterback league, you actually starting him in your super flex spot. And it would be better than an elite wide receiver in some cases.
And that's QB 18. Now, here's where it gets even crazier. And this is why quarterback is so important. Because you're thinking right now, you're like, well, there's 12 teams in my league, right? You just said 18. He ain't that bad. Okay, so there's a decent chance I'll have 2 good ones. But A, that's Derek Carr, and he's not very good, and he's already number 18. But even worse, somebody in your league has him on the bench. You don't even have that guy. So, like, when you have 3 really good quarterbacks, that essentially means that you've blocked somebody else from having even a second good one. Now he's willing to sell his house, his family, his firstborn child, and a night with his wife in bed just to get an elite quarterback. There's nothing you can do to get one. Now, if his wife is hot, you have a deal. But in general, with me, it's like, okay, that's fair. Here you go, Trevor Lawrence. But like in general, it's really, really hard to get guys. So here's the mistake of your draft, and we're gonna go through that.
By the way, is my connection okay? Is my connection
your connection's a little sketch right now? I'm not gonna lie. You're looking a little crazy to me.
Keep going. I see what the problem is. I'm gonna go out and come back in. Okay.
All right. You
keep going. I'll be right back.
Well, I'm gonna talk about what happened in that draft versus where a draft should have gone. So in the mock draft that Says did with the experts, they went Johnny Lawrence first, and then you got Travis Etienne and Najee Harris with picks 2 and 3. Now, everybody loves a great running back. I love a great running back. You love a great running back. Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, and when Says comes back, we'll talk about their skill sets and why we think they're going to be really great in the NFL. But the issue there was just taking running backs ahead of potential stud quarterbacks. We know in this draft that in pick number 2, the Jets are going to take Zach Wilson. He's got a nice skill set, probably better skill set than people are anticipating for fantasy purposes. Jets quarterbacks, normally not a good situation. They fail all the time. Jets, terrible franchise. We know all of these things. No one's going to want to take Zach Wilson, but he's still a quarterback that can be really good. We also have Justin Fields and Lance, 2 other quarterbacks going in this draft that have elite ceilings because they're runners. So straight up, for me, the quarterbacks should at least be going 1, 2, and 3. Then I might consider a running back ahead of like a Wilson. That's how it should go. That's not how it probably does go in your rookie super flex league, though. So there is an advantage to be gained there. If you're picking a little bit later, you might have a quarterback fall to you. You might be pissed. You might be thinking, damn, I really needed a running back. But I don't want you to think that way. I want you to think like, oh, shit, I can't believe somebody took these 2 running backs, 2 and 3, and now I get a quarterback at pick 4 or pick 5 that's a starter. Why? Because
back, by the way.
That desperate sell your wife guy, it will give you Zeke Elliott and a first for that quarterback.
You're not goofing on my trade, are you?
No, I didn't talk anything about it. No one cares about your trade.
By the way, am I better now? Am I better?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Sorry
So my point was, in the rookie draft, experts, they took running back number 2, running back number 3, and then they got into the quarterbacks that are going to be starters. That is a mistake. If you're picking 2, Justin Fields is your guy. If you're picking 3, you're going to take probably the San Francisco guy. Or we're going to look at some situations. Even Zach Wilson, I think there's an argument to be made to take him ahead of any of these running backs. Now, what I wanted to ask you, Says, now you're back. You're my player evaluator because we're looking at these rookies. Everybody only cares about the rookies. On the quarterback position, I want to know about elite ceiling, and then we'll jump on because quarterback, it gets repetitive here. But it seems to me that the consensus right now is that Zach Wilson will be the 4th guy drafted, and you're going to get Fields and Lance. Now, there's some stuff going on with Fields, got some epilepsy. I don't think that's an issue, in my opinion, But
it's like, why is all this stuff coming out now? It's to me, it screams of like distraction. Hey, hope he fall. Like, I wouldn't be like, I'm just making this up. I have no information, but like if the Lions, just say, for example, are putting that out there, leaking it, right? Just so maybe Fields drops to them, like this is the time of year where you have to ignore all that stuff. Like if there was a problem, it would have come out months ago. Fields has been the consensus QB2 in this class for a year. Somewhere along the line, nothing's changed, but that narrative changed, and that's it.
It kind of reminds me of like what happened with Mahomes. Like, why was he not?
Well, he was thought of as like a wild man gunslinger, and it's really the question is like, why wasn't Deshaun Watson
Watson?
Yeah,
racism. Anybody? Hello, Chicago.
Don't start that.
I think that's real.
All right.
I think that's real. I'm not accusing anybody, but I think it's real. But like they just wanted the white dude. It's fucked up.
The views on this podcast are reflective of the geek, right? How's that saying go? Anyway, go ahead.
It could have been,
on.
but
Silly.
what else could it be? Deshaun Watson was like obviously better. Like Mitch Trubisky, what the fuck is going on?
Well, I'll give everyone a podcast recommendation. I sent it to you the other day, but Evan Silva and the Podfather did a 30-minute takedown of the Chicago Bears organization on the Sonic Truth podcast. It was really good. It was actually a detailed, and it includes them trading up for Mitch Trubisky and passing on Deshaun Watson and how that came along. They go through all the details of it. It's very interesting.
So the fact that I've been ranting about Ryan Pace for years now, virally ranting about Ryan Pace, it finally gets picked up by other places.
But and it was a good detailed
I'm talking about that. Anyway, let's get into that. Okay, so I want to understand about Zach. Can this guy run like Zach Wilson? Can this guy run? Can he do it with his legs? He looks like a skinny little boy to me in the pictures. He looks like to my eye, he's about a 14-year-old kid. Maybe weighs 140 pounds. What am I missing here? And is the visual off for me? Why does he's got a boyish charm?
Yeah. So the knock on Zach Wilson is that it's only 1 year of production and that it's not in the SEC. It's a lesser competition, but that 1 year was really good. I mean, no one knew who Joe Burrow was before his last year at LSU. Sometimes these guys do emerge. Zach Wilson is he's not a running quarterback. He's a mobile quarterback. Think of him in the same light as like how Patrick Mahomes runs or how Aaron Rodgers runs or how Andrew Luck runs. They can scramble. They can run. They can move around the pocket. Even like peak Ben Roethlisberger, he wasn't a runner, but he was able to move around the pocket and create off balance.
You can't bring Ben Roethlisberger is different than
I said peak. No, I'm saying is someone that can scramble around. Yeah. Ben Roethlisberger on 3rd and 4 used to be able to when the pocket broke down, scramble and get those 4 yards.
He used his giant size. But what I want to know is that so Mahomes is Zach Wilson.
He's not a running quarterback. He's a quarterback who can run.
We should not expect designed runs for this.
No. But if the pocket breaks down, if the play breaks down, he'll be able to escape and get you the 4 yards, the 6 yards. And he's got some speeds. I forgot what his speed score was.
Don't worry about that. Compare him to now Trevor Lawrence. What is Trevor Lawrence's mobility like? Is he gonna have a designed run or similar? He can run if he needs to. He's got that athleticism, but we're not designing running plays for this kid.
Yeah, and just remember, Trevor Lawrence is an excellent athlete too. He's 6'6". He's a monster. But so I think you could expect about 5.5 rushing touchdowns from Trevor Lawrence every year. I think when they get down to like the 3-yard line, he's going to be an effective sneak quarterback because he has such a long reach and he can make it to the outside. I mean, that's not going to be his primary thing, but I think you can pencil in safely about 200 and 225 rushing yards a year, not 500 yards a year, but about 250 yards a year for Trevor Lawrence on the ground.
Both guys essentially project more as pocket passers with good mobility and athleticism. Yes. Now let's take it over to Justin Fields and Lance. Yeah. Both of these guys really profile more as runners with designed runs, more of the Kyler Murray aesthetic, or am I missing something?
Here's a good comp for Trey Lance. Think of the best version of Colin Kaepernick. Okay, someone who had a rocket arm. Colin Kaepernick was actually particularly accurate. He could get the ball in tight windows, and also was a very effective runner. You know, I mean, there will be some design runs for him. So that was my comp for Trey Lance, was the best version of Kaepernick.
It's always a weird comp to mention a player and say the best version of them, because I didn't think Colin Kaepernick was very good at being
it was he brought them to the Super Bowl. I mean, that team with Alex Smith was dead in the water. He got injured. Kaepernick comes in and leads them to the Super Bowl. I mean, that version of him was a top 3, top 4 NFL and fantasy quarterback.
He had the good run there for sure that one year. But a lot of that team was built on defense. So moving on. So the best version of that. And what about Fields?
Yeah, Fields is a monster. I don't know why he's not the QB2. I'm upset as a Jet fan that, you know, they're not taking him. I think that the upside because Fields is built well too. I mean, he's going to be able to absorb hits. So when you talk about like quarterbacks running, you're always worried about like someone like Kyler Murray. He's a smaller quarterback. So the more hits he takes, it's bad for the longevity of his career. Given the fact that he's able to evade a lot of tacklers and he's very elusive, does help as well. He doesn't take a lot of big hits, but Justin Fields has a pretty thick BMI, and he is, I would say you could pencil him in for about 700 rushing yards. He is a running quarterback with a rocket arm. He has it all. I don't understand the down, like it's all upside with him. And I think there's still a solid floor. I won't be surprised if he outproduces from fantasy, and that's what we care about, fantasy football. From a fantasy football perspective, I wouldn't be surprised if Fields outproduces Lawrence on a per-game basis as soon as he gets an opportunity.
If you have pick number 2 in your Dynasty Superflex rookie draft, right? And especially if San Francisco wises up and actually takes Fields with pick number 3, and you got pick number 2, you might have hit the pick jackpot. Even, you didn't get 1. That's okay. You got number 2. Straight comparison today, Jalen Hurts or Justin Fields?
Well, the answer is easy. It's Fields, and I'll tell you why. It's not that I don't think that Hurts is great and we love him. It's just the job security thing. Like, if you're drafting, if someone offers, say you're sitting there at pick 2 in your Superflex draft, and someone says, hey, I'll give you Jalen Hurts for this pick. Jalen Hurts does have bench risk. If he fails, or if he has, 3 interceptions in 2 games in a row, it could be over. Whereas if Fields has 3 interceptions 4 games in a row, he's getting 2 years. He's the San Francisco traded 3 first-round picks to get him. He is getting 3 years to show himself. Even if he fails this year, fails next year, he'll still get a 3rd year. So just that alone, the job security, I'm taking Fields every time. Anyone who's picked in the top 5 of the real NFL draft is getting 3 years to make it happen.
I agree, and I think Fields has that upside. Again, you hit the jackpot if you're pick number 2. There's no doubt.
That's why when dynasty players talk about like, hey, I'm going to have this guy for 15 years. 15 years? What are you talking about? NFL, you're lucky to have the player for that year and the year after. And when you can safely project a player 2 seasons out, like Justin Fields, Zach Wilson are not guaranteed to be the starter in 2024. They're guaranteed in 21 and 22.
You're hoping,
and likely 23.
You know who is guaranteed to be the starter though? Veterans that are elite. So
but that's not what we're talking about. You're talking about, of course.
No, these rookies, you don't know. They can all bust. And the more draft, you're totally right. The more draft capital you have, the more of a chance your team's going to give you. It's that simple.
That's why Dwayne Haskins, for example, didn't get those opportunities because he wasn't picked inside the top 10. He was picked at like 17 or 15.
He was also complete dog shit.
Right, but I'm saying if you're complete dog shit and you're in the top 5 pick, you're still going to get another chance. It's
AKA
inside of the
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. He was, Sam Darnold, 3rd overall pick. We're going to give him one more chance. I mean, he's going to year 4 and has showed almost nothing. It's shut. The only, look at Drew Lock, for example, on the other end of it. He's a 2nd round pick. You're not confident at all in Drew Lock. I mean, you're thinking like, it might even be over this year.
Could very well be if one of these guys falls to Denver. So let's move on from the quarterback position. But we wanted to stress, and I wanted to stress that, all right. So let's kind of look at, actually, since we're talking the actual draft, let's break it down. Well, let's continue with the quarterback position just for a second. So let's assume that Justin Fields goes 3rd. He's currently
in the real NFL draft.
In the real NFL draft,
he's
goes to
not
San
the betting
Francisco.
favorite. I looked. He's gone from a plus 250 to a plus 250 to a plus 150. So he's still an underdog, but the gap is
There's no one who has higher odds than him. That makes him.
Mac Jones is still minus 250.
He's minus 250
on my bookie. Yeah.
Okay, so actually, it looks like it will be Mac Jones, but
no, I think it's a bad bet. I mean, because you know why? It's the market is driving the number. You know that from doing MMA.
Yeah, you can beat these bets. Yeah,
the odds are not reflective of the actual probability of the fight. The odds reflect the market betting and where the money's going.
But the money's smart. The money is not stupid.
The money's not stupid. And Adam Schefter and Peter Schrager and all these big time mainstream media, sports media mocks have Mac Jones staying at 3, and that's driving the market.
If that does happen, then all right, let's go with the odds-on favorite. Mac Jones goes 3rd. There's now a scramble because sharp teams know that the second best quarterback, maybe the best quarterback in this draft, is now available with pick number 4.
Okay, so
Atlanta's on the board.
Stop there. Okay, so we need to discuss this. To me, this has been over discussed on social media. What's Atlanta going to do it for? But I am fascinated by this. I'm absolutely fascinated by this. If you're Atlanta, how do you're likely not going to be in a position to draft an elite quarterback like this again without giving up extra draft capital. How do you pass on Justin Fields if you don't get everything you want for this pick, like overpay? You need to make the pick. I guess I've heard that they might take Kyle Pitts. They might, but how do you pass on this Justin Fields here?
Let me be very clear. You don't. So there's one of two things that you do. You either trade the pick and get an ass load of picks in return, in which case you can then parlay those into that future early first round pick 2 years away. That's fine. Because all right.
Well, if you don't get enough, though, what if someone offers you like a pick swap and one additional first?
No, they will offer enough because there's going to be competition for the pick. So they will offer enough because there's going to be competition for it. It's as simple as that. If you don't get enough, I think you got to take the player. But at some point, you got to say, well, we have a quarterback and we like him for 2 or 3 years, and we've paid him. So why would we take a rookie right now? The problem with rookie, and you've talked about this a little bit in the past, is this is not a league where you could take a 4th pick overall and dick around, sit on him for 2 years. The salary for the quarterback position explodes. So when you take a rookie, you have a window to create a championship team around that fellow, assuming that he could play well, because you don't have to pay a guy $36 million. Now you can afford to build a team around. So this idea of sitting a top 5, 6, 7 pick quarterback for a couple of years and let him learn, that is just not how you win in the National Football League. It's not going to work.
Though, Geek. Here's the problem: is that Atlanta extended Matt Ryan, so he's going to be on the roster this year, and I don't think they could just get out of it. I have to take a look at the contract, and I don't think they could just get out of it next year. Like they probably can with like a $15 million cap hit, which is a big deal. It's a big deal. So Matt Ryan is absolutely going to be on the roster this year. So if they pick Justin Fields, now again, doesn't mean they wouldn't. It's okay they'll still have 4 years of that rookie contract, which I don't think is optimal. You want to get that guy in there right away. So they're in a weird situation because they extended him an extra, they gave him some extra time on his contract.
They've got to make the trade. They will be able to. There will be teams making offers there, and I think there'll be multiple teams making offers in that spot. I don't think, if we want to talk about who it might be, to me, it's Denver all day. Denver is the team that should move up. New England, another team that should be looking to aggressively move up.
How about Washington?
Them too. So I think they're comfortable with Fitzpatrick this year, by the way. I don't actually think they feel like, oh my God, we need a quarterback this season. They feel like, hey, we like our guy this year. But if I'm Washington and I'm thinking longer term, I'm aggressively trying to move up as well. Washington known for making stupid deals. So any one of those teams. And by the way, and no one's talking about this team, I think they're the correct team to move up. The Steelers should sell their souls to the devil.
They have other problems. They have other problems.
No, there's no such thing as a war set. They have an old quarterback that is from the generation of guys who have been retiring. Who comes from the Roethlisberger group? Eli Manning. Oh, he's gone. Philip Rivers. Oh, he's gone. These guys are
Drew
fucking old.
Brees, right? Drew Brees.
Yeah, Drew Brees was the year before, but
You
like
said that era. You said that era.
yeah, they're all from there. These guys are retiring now, and Roethlisberger is an injury waiting to happen. If I'm the Steelers, I'm aggressive. So I think there's a lot of potential trade partners. I do think they'll get a deal done. Carolina's saying we're happy with Sam Darnold. Sorry,
No,
Carolina.
if Fields,
You guys are screwed.
Yeah, but if Fields fell to if Fields or Lance falls to 8 where Carolina picks, I don't think that stops them from taking the quarterback.
They're not going to fall. This is not going to go down like that.
Well, okay.
They're
Well,
not
let me mock out the scenario where it happens. Okay, let's go through it. Okay. So we agree the top 3 are all quarterbacks, right? Quarterback one. Let's just say Mac Jones goes 3rd to San Francisco.
I would say the top 4. If Mac Jones goes 3,
let's hold on a second.
4 are locked in quarterback.
Hold on. You're scooting off the premise.
Okay.
How Justin Fields? I'm giving you the scenario where Justin Fields falls to 8. Okay, so just stay with me here. So so Mac Jones, the betting favorite, goes to San Francisco at 3. Okay, pick 4 is up. That is the Dolphins, right?
No, it's Atlanta.
No, I mean, sorry, Atlanta. Sorry, Atlanta. Atlanta takes Kyle Pitts. So let's just go with it. Go with the scenario. All right. Hey, we're in win now mode. Kyle Pitts, best player on the board. Okay, number 5 is Cincinnati. They get their lineman. Okay, number 6 is Miami. They take Jamar Chase. With me, right?
Quarterback.
Well, no, just stay with the premise here.
Yeah, no.
Number 7 is who right now?
That's Carolina.
No, they're 8.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I think it's the Lions.
Right. Okay. Lions. They either take the lineman because they're in a full rebuild. They take Rashawn Slater, the lineman, or best defensive player on the board, or Jalen Waddle. They want to add to the wide receivers. Again, I think that or they take, say, Trey Lance or Justin Fields. Okay. Say at that point, say they want to go quarterback. Either way, then 8, Trey Lance or Justin Fields is left on the board when Carolina picks. That's how it happens.
There are scenarios, but
that's a likely scenario.
No, every one of these scenarios just has like a team falling in love with the player and then foregoing potential trades, which would deliver a bounty of picks, which I just think is bad GMsmanship. So yeah, we see it all the time. Teams make stupid decisions. They fall in love with the player, and I'm like, why don't you just trade down 3 spots? He was going to be there, and you would have got a first next year. Like, they don't do the wise thing, but we'll see if they we'll see what happens. I get nuts because I love the management side. This is part of what fantasy football is about. I love the management side of this. I like drafting the NFL draft in the same way I would a regular draft. Move down, get value, get an extra pick, get some volume of players in there. So, all right, let's move on away from the quarterback position. Let's talk about some running backs. There are 3 elite names in this draft, and I want to talk about these names, where they might go, and which teams we hope they go to make them super elite values. So Travis Etienne is now being projected to go in the first round. Running backs normally don't go as first round picks. Etienne is the only one that seems to be projecting there. You got Javonte Williams and you've got Najee Harris. So says in order, do you think that any one of these guys goes in the first round? And if they do late in the first round, who are you hoping it is? Which player, which team? What's the perfect scenario where you might say, you know what, I'm going to forego one of these top 2 running backs with one of my first 2 picks, and I'm going for this because it's spectacular? Or there's no such scenario where that makes any kind of sense?
Let me start this conversation with what I think is the obvious take, is that I do not think any team should ever take a running back in the first round. Like, it is a total donkey move for an NFL team to take a running back in the first round. Okay. I mean, think even like someone like Saquon Barkley, who went at pick, 2 overall, you could have gotten Nick Chubb the next go around, right? I mean, and then that assumes also maybe you like Barkley better, but you could have gotten another position.
I don't love him that much more, It's like, how much better?
Well, right. That's the point. So that said, NFL teams do it all the time. Right. So unless it's a situation where you think you're a Super Bowl caliber team and you're a running back away and there's an elite running back, similar to what the Chiefs thought they were doing last year. Right. I could see a situation where Tampa Bay, they have all 22 starters returning. Right. And if Travis Etienne is there and they feel like he's the best running back and better than anyone in the running back room, I could see it. You know, and I don't agree with it, but that is the only situation which I could sign off on drafting a running back in the first round, is that if you feel that's the final piece to your championship. Now, what's going to happen with the NFL? I have Travis Etienne as my number one running back. I've never wavered off that.
He is the Jamal Charles comparable.
Yeah, that's what I think. That Jamal Charles is obviously, that's a major upside. I think that, you know, he's a pass catching running back who has elusiveness, who he's got good enough speed. He's just a great running back. Like last year, if he was supposed to come out last year, he would have been my running back 3 or 4 after Swift and Dobbins. You know, I would have had him ahead of Clyde Edwards-Helaire and certainly Cam Akers at the time. And, you know, I don't think much of that has changed other than we haven't seen him yet or the landing spot. I understand why people like Najee Harris ahead of him, and I will like Najee Harris too, but he's also, you know, he's a year older than him. He was a senior, whereas Etienne came out a year before that. Travis Etienne will be the first running back off the board. I am absolutely betting that. His over-under on my bookie is 35.5 picks, which means you get a little equity in the second round too. I think that's a lock, slam dunk. I'm hammering that.
You're going for the under
35.5 picks. Yeah. Because I think someone in the first round is taking him. And if not, I absolutely think that he'll go in the first 2 picks. The Jets would take him with pick 2 in the second round.
That's to me where the danger is on that bet.
But that's pick 34.
Yeah, that second round, the beginning, that you do start
to
see.
I think that's good.
No, the good danger. If you're betting the over, that'd be the danger.
Yeah,
because that beginning of the second round is much more likely to be like, okay, we got our guy. Second round, we know we need a running back. Okay, let's grab the best guy. Fell. Let's take him.
If it was 32.5, I'd be a little more nervous. I'd still take it, but that 35.5, where you get 3 picks in the second round, I'm in on that. So who do I think is going to take him? I mean, it's funny because the Pittsburgh media, like the old school media, like Ed Bouchette and those guys are all like, take a running back in the first round. Pittsburgh, what? Like they need line, they need so many other things. So I saw a Peter Schrager mock of NFL Network mock Travis Etienne to Washington. That made me vomit. Because
he's
obviously,
good.
he's pretty accurate, you know, but to Washington doesn't make any sense. I don't think that'll happen. So there's going to be a team that takes him in the first round. I mean, you know, Miami is probably too smart to take a running back in the first round. They have a few picks. I just think that the Jets at pick 34 is the sweet spot, but he obviously is not he's not gonna fall out of the first round. There's too many teams that like him. He's a do-it-all running back. He's a modern day running back, and I could see almost him fitting in with any team.
Well, let's look late. Let's look late in the draft in the first round. Just because we're talking about this, and really, who is going to be this team? I don't know. So I'm going to go through some team names here, and you tell me, because the need is not that great for running back this year. So you look at the Bucs; they're probably kind of happy. I could see the Bucs doing it.
I could see the Bucs doing it though.
Because they have very much a mediocre group.
Start with 16 Arizona. Arizona at 16, no, they're gonna go for defense there, or maybe Jalen Waddle if they move up. Las Vegas probably won't do it. Miami at 18, I guess that's a possibility. I just don't see it. Peter Schrager had Washington at 19. Obviously, that's a possibility.
No way.
No way. No way. 20 and 21.
Look at these teams again. Go through them one by one. Washington, they have.
How about the Jets at 23? Could you see them doing it?
Yes. That's. I don't think they will, but that's the first danger. But again, if I'm the Jets, I'm looking down the list, going, you know, I don't know that I have to be worried. It's the Titans aren't taking him. After the Jets pick, you've got the Steelers.
How about Jacksonville at 25?
Jacksonville has Robinson. He's a star. I think they have a really good player there. Why would you waste draft capital on a running
back
when you've got a good guy? And again, the Browns, they have 2 good running backs.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
They have 3 good running backs on
Saints,
Baltimore.
no. Packers, no. Buffalo.
Bills.
How about Buffalo?
Buffalo? To burn the Moss people and the Singletary people.
Yeah.
Buffalo would do that. They're that kind of team.
But it feels more like they would take Najee Harris there.
But again, it doesn't even matter. Buffalo probably not going to do that. They need wide receivers. They have other needs on that. They need a wide receiver badly on Buffalo. So why the fuck would you do this? To me, Buffalo should take a wide receiver there. So, you know, as you continue, again, Chiefs, no. Bucks, we already talked about them. Yep. Here you have your shot at him again. Jaguars, Jets. So I don't see.
And also Atlanta at pick 35, they only have Mike Davis right now. So I think
Atlanta is the guy that he cannot get past. This is why your bet is safe. So let's bring it around. and say that as long, and this is where the danger zone is for that bet, as long as ATN is the first guy off the board, which we don't know. We
don't
absolutely don't know that. But if
I
there's
don't even
no
think
way,
he's the favorite. I think he's the underdog to Harris.
so there you go, right? There's the risk in that bet. I would say that running back cannot get past Falcons at pick 35 in round 2. First running back off the board, no matter who it is. Jets probably will take one at 34 as well. So
you could see it going 34 and 35, right? You could see ETN going 34 and then Harris at 35.
That is your running back sweet spot. And then the third guy probably can go to the Steelers in the middle of round. That's the Javonte Williams spot.
Yeah, I mocked in my mock. I have Javonte Williams going to Arizona at 49.
That's fine too. The Steelers could be on him. They're picking at 55 in the second round. So is that the second round? Yeah, they're picking at 55 in the second round. So Arizona definitely has a need at running back. Arizona could shock the world and take one at 16 as well. But I agree with you. I think that the sweet spot is that second round, and you're probably going to have all three go in the second round. So let's, for the purpose of drafting, do you change your evaluation, being that these are running backs, being that they're tied in for 5 years, 4 or 5 years, and being that these are very team specific? Do you change your evaluation based on which team they go to? If we're talking about Atlanta, Jets, and either Arizona or Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, I think landing spot matters for running backs because
which is better of this group though. Like when you look at Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Jets, are you really pissed if it goes to one versus another? Like, is there a major difference?
Yeah, because yes. So I like the Jets, and I like, you said, Atlanta. I do not like the running back going to Pittsburgh. Everyone thinks that that's going to be an amazing spot. Their offensive line is so bad that Najee Harris, if he ends up being the running back on a Pittsburgh, he's going to turn into Benny Snell for fantasy. Benny Snell, I heard a great stat yesterday, led the league in contact behind the line of scrimmage, meaning he was getting hit before he even, basically when he took the handoff. And that's not on the running back. That's on the offensive line. And they've done nothing to improve it. The Steelers, if Najee Harris is going to be thought of elevated if he gets to the Steelers, and I think that's a danger zone for so I'd be lower on a Steelers running back in round 1. They need to bolster the offensive line. Now, if they get Javonte Williams, say, in round 2, I would be higher on him because I'm assuming they took a lineman with round 1. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'd say the biggest negative for me with the Steelers and the Steelers running back is just I think they're going to be a bad team for a few years, and so that's more of a concern for me than anything else.
And that's your philosophy. Don't take running backs on bad teams.
So my philosophy with running backs is very simple. I want running backs on winning teams, right? And the Steelers, with the end of Ben Roethlisberger's career nigh and seemingly in denial about it and not really addressing it. Again, if I'm the Steelers, I'm aggressively trading up to pick 4, and Fields is on my team. If I'm the Steelers, if I'm Tomlin, I make sure that Fields is on my team this year. And Roethlisberger's like, dude, what the fuck? Why are you taking a quarterback? I'm still here. And you're
They're
like,
not gonna have it. They don't have the goods to get up to get Fields. They don't have it.
I don't believe in that. You give your first rounder next year. You just
but there's going to be, you understand, there's going to be other teams that have better offers on the table. You can take first, second, all you want, but like when you know how it is when you're trading in your fantasy league. If someone offers you 1 point, you can shoot your shot all you want. But I'm saying is that if someone offers you 112, it's the guy that offers you, when you have like the 1-2, when someone offers you 1-4 plus their second plus another, it's like, it's just going to be a better deal. All those teams, Denver, the ones we named earlier, are going to have better assets to move up.
That's fine, but I'm shooting my shot.
Yeah, sure.
If I don't get it, I don't get it. But if
they're not going to get it.
Oh, that's fine. But I'm shooting my shot. I don't care. I'm taking my shot.
You know, last year, here's an interesting question for you. So last year, Green Bay shocked us by moving up in the first round to take Jordan Love. What team do you think could shock us this year and take a 6th quarterback, an unexpected quarterback, or just move up to take a quarterback that we don't expect?
I do have a prediction, but I don't think it's shocking. I just think it's going to happen.
This is the Bull Call podcast.
I think that the Buccaneers are going to take a quarterback with that last pick in the first round. Why wouldn't they? Like, if somebody drops, or if even a Mund is available, again, they're returning their whole team. Now they're getting a late first round pick. It's not a guy that's going to get paid a ton. They're not on the scale the same as the early picks. I think it could be the Bucs, because if you have Tom Brady on your team and you bring in a developmental guy who maybe needs 2 years of seasoning on the bench, that might not be a bad spot to grab one. So I'm going to go with.
I think somebody yeah, that's a good guy. I like that one. That's actually a pretty good bold prediction. But I think Tampa is so in the now that if they're a smart organization, they should sell that pick, because that's a highly coveted pick, because you get the extra contract year. So if they sell that pick and move back, they don't really have any team needs, and then just collect draft capital, and stock up for the future.
I always think that's a good idea to do, but teams rarely do it. I always think
we thought Lamar Jackson. Baltimore traded up to take Lamar Jackson with that spot.
Oh, did they? Last pick in the first round?
Yeah, they didn't have that. They traded back into the first round and grabbed Lamar.
Probably didn't cost that much to make that trade. One nice thing about that trade is that last pick or the first pick in the second round, you get that whole night to think about it. And, oh my God, there's a couple of value pieces that always drop there. So it is an interesting spot. That'd be my bold call. I don't know if it's bold.
That's a bold call. Tampa taking a quarterback is a bold call.
Yeah. And that would be it for me. What do you think?
I think you nailed it right there. I think that was going to be mine too. That's why I'm laughing.
All right.
But if there's a team that I would think that would surprise me and take a quarterback, again, I would, like you said, we've talked about Denver and all those. I sorry, not Denver, Pittsburgh, but that wouldn't surprise me. The one that would be actually shocking is the one you said. I think we're in alignment there.
How about another crazy one? I don't think this will happen, but just going through the number one, the Dolphins are going to commit to Tua for one more year. I get it. What about the Titans just surprising us with a quarterback pick?
Nah, they need a receiver. They lost Corey Davis. They lost Jonnu Smith. They're in win now mode. Their defense is horrendous. I mean, it's literally the worst defense in the league. So at pick 22, they're either going to take one of those receivers. This is not maybe it's a top heavy class, but it's a deep class. So they're going to take a receiver at 22, or they're going to take something to bolster their defense. Ryan Tannehill has been a pleasant surprise for them. That is not. They're not doing that.
If the Patriots come out of this draft without a quarterback, did they fuck it up?
No, because Bill Belichick's style is not to give away the house. I do think they're going to try, but there'll be other veterans just like Cam Newton that they can get another year. I mean, they have a lot of needs themselves, so don't be surprised. I mean, I won't be surprised if they get a quarterback, but I don't think they're going to sell the farm to do it. All what else do you want to talk about in our last few minutes here?
Yeah, just running back to the running back position here. Beyond the top three guys, we've already kind of gone through the teams, and we really see we don't have a lack of running backs in the league this year. There's literally three teams kind of needy. I'd throw some other teams as nice to have one. I'll throw San Francisco on that mix. Nice to have. They need a quarterback. They could use a running back there. I'll throw Seattle on the mix. Got some guys over there, but they could probably use an upgrade as well. I don't. So in the third, fourth round, these guys that are not going to go in the second, give me a couple names of running backs that might kind of emerge. Might be interesting later in our rookie drafts and also in the actual NFL draft. Like maybe some names that we're not talking about as much, but that we should really have on our radar for fantasy purposes for even this year.
Is that a question?
Yeah. Like who are some of these later running backs that we should keep our eyes on?
Okay. So who are the running backs that are going to go on day 3, maybe in the 3rd or 4th and 5th round, right? That's what you want to know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I definitely have a couple of these. My favorite guy that nobody seems to like. I can't find a draft like a fantasy draft where this guy, even in Superflex, goes anything earlier than the 3-4 turn. But I like Kylan Hill. He showed a complete skill set in school, and he didn't play much this year, but he caught 25 passes in 3 games or something. And he had a 10 catch game. He also the year before, because he didn't play. I think he only played 3 games this year. The year before, he had about 1,900 rushing yards. So he's somebody that I like, I guess, better than consensus, Kylan Hill. The other one is Trey Sermon, making his way up the board from Ohio State. Trey Sermon, shockingly, is Matt Waldman. I mean, this is famous all over the internet at this point. Matt Waldman he has him as his RB1. I like Trey Sermon. He's certainly going to be my RB4. So I think that you'll see Trey Sermon probably go in the late second round of the real NFL draft, maybe the third round, definitely the third round. So I think Trey Sermon, Kylan Hill are the two that I like that have a pretty good shot. And then there's a bunch of these specialty backs. A lot of Kenny Gainwell out of Memphis was able. Listen, he outplayed Antonio Gibson at Memphis. Kenny Gainwell didn't play this past year. He opted out, but Gainwell is going to be a popular pick. And depending on landing spot, I think that's somebody that we have to keep an eye on for fantasy. And then the other guy is Javonte Williams's backfield mate, Michael Carter, who was a pass catching back. If he ends up in a role where, he's going to have opportunity, that's a player that could have 65, 70 catches in his rookie season. So
let's tie that in now to landing spots where we maybe we didn't think about it initially as a good landing spot for running back, but on second thought, this is kind of interesting for me, right? So what are some teams that we haven't talked too much about in terms of a good running back land? Because let's face it, fantasy football is all about these running backs, right? What are a couple of teams where we didn't quite think about it ahead of the draft as a good spot, but then come to think of it, this would be actually really interesting for a potential young running back. And maybe he doesn't smash this year, but maybe long-term, this is a really, really good spot. And I'm going to name one that I don't think is on anybody's radar. How about the Bengals? How about the Bengals as a landing spot for a running back? Listen, Joe Mixon, he's been there. He has not proven anything. He has been there for a few years. All he's proven is that he gets hurt a lot. He hasn't proven anything. I mean, at some point, what if the Bengals take a young guy, one of these guys? Are we happy with that spot? Or are we saying, oh, Mixon's there, but then come to think of it, maybe this is a good spot for a running back. Exciting young offense.
Mixon hasn't stayed healthy as of recent. He didn't have surgery on his foot. It kind of repaired on its own. So that's an interesting one. I also think the Bears. I don't think that Tariq Cohen is long for the Bears, and David Montgomery has kind of just been a plotter, just a guy. So if we get an electric pass catching running back on the Bears, and as they start to build, that might be interesting. And as I look down the list,
let's go back and forth because I got some good ones.
Okay, yeah, go.
If a running back is taken by the Denver Broncos, I'm excited about that running back. I'm not even, the double whammy of what I love about it is the fools who believe that Melvin Gordon is anything more than a Jag. He's basically Uncle Lenny Fournette X2, right? He's the same guy, not very good. Everybody's going to be like, oh, he's got Gordon ahead of him. That's not a great spot, RBBC. And I could see the Denver Broncos running back, if he takes one of those guys that are any one of them, all the way up to the top. If the Broncos grab one of those guys, I'm going to be sneakily excited about that running back because I don't believe in the Broncos long-term sort of combo with Melvin Gordon. I think sooner than later, a Broncos running back pick will emerge as the guy there.
Yeah, I mean, that was going to be my next one. So we're in lockstep there. Other than that, there's not many spots. I mean, the Dolphins, if they get a day 3 running back with some juice, I'm going to be interested because Gaskin, as much as we like him, doesn't have the draft capital, doesn't have the pedigree, kind of profiles more as just a guy. He was very competent, and he did a good job. But if one of these electric running backs like Kenny Gainwell, like Chuba Hubbard, or any Trey Sermon for sure lands in the Miami Dolphins, I mean, if everyone's expecting the Dolphins to take an early running back, I told you already, I don't think that's going to happen. It could, but if they take one in day 3, I'm definitely going to be interested.
And of course, every one of these picks ruins a different player that we had some hopes for. The last team that I mean, we could get into a little bit of who gets ruined, but
we'll do that next time, though.
Yeah, we'll do that.
We're trying to keep these podcasts right. We're trying to keep these podcasts under an hour. So
yeah. Also, it's better to do that after the draft when we actually know who's ruined. The last team that I would throw on the list of if they took a running back, I'm interested is the San Francisco 49ers. Listen, they've got a lot of guys over there. They've had a stable of running backs who are Mostert and Wilson Jr. look good for a minute. But I don't think any one of them has really solidified themselves as like, yeah, this is the guy. It's my team. It's my role here.
They use them all to get up to get to 3. So.
Well, it doesn't matter, though. Like, this could be a late 3rd round. I mean, they have a pick at the end of the 3rd round, pick 102. So, with pick 102, the 49ers select, RB3 or RB4 or RB5 in the class. I'm interested in that guy, especially if it does happen at the end of round 3. I think there's a delineation between round 3 and round 4. Somehow when you get to round 4, the teams, the draft capital just guarantees you nothing. There you're in the Darrell Henderson zone. Where it's
he was around 3.
We like him, but you know what I'm saying. Late round 3. By the time you get into round 4, the draft capital.
Well, that's like the Chargers last year. They took Josh Kelly in round 4. He was good. Everyone thought they'd hit gold, and then as soon as he failed, that was it. There was no second chance.
No, there's no, that draft capital gets you nothing. A team will cut a 4th round pick before the end of training camp if they don't like him. So that's just how it goes. Anyway, all right, that'll do it for this edition of the Bowl Call. We broke down the 2021 NFL draft here. We've gone through the rookie rankings for running back, quarterback. It's really good stuff. We're excited for the draft. It's coming up in a week from now. So we are psyched about that.
Give a nice shout out to our sponsor, Drafters, man. If you like best ball like us, we've been playing on drafters.com. We're using promo code ARMY to get a 25% match. Absolutely, go play some best ball on Drafters. It's a really great site. The interface is easy to use. Their rankings are right on, spot on. So you're not gonna. Their ADP is very sharp. So I would go on Drafters. Play some NFL best ball before the rookies land. Then even after, they're going to have a ton of contests, and there's overlay in their contest that ends right on draft day. So absolutely go do that.
Massive overlay. We're expecting 1/3. We're expecting 2,000 seats not to fill for that contest. So for me, I just like the free money. I like. They have a great interface. It pings me. They email me when my draft is starting up. I go. I do it. It takes me about 25 minutes to run through a draft. The other thing I want to say about that. I don't have anything else to say about that.
Yeah, but
I'm in that contest. I've got a lot of entries there.
I was going to tease the listeners that you and I are participating in a wild dynasty startup draft next week, and we'll come on and talk about our strategy when we do the podcast next. That's next Thursday on draft day, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll be tweeting live updates of what's going on. That's a draft where we have to start 2 quarterbacks, not super flex, 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends. It's just going to be bananas, that one.
And the other thing I wanted to mention, if you're doing these best ball leagues, if you're doing anything right now, if you're in a startup draft, the DFSARMY NFL Draft Kit is live on the site. It continues to be updated. It continues to more stuff goes in every single week, but we have our full rankings out. There's some notes. They get adjusted. They'll be adjusted after the draft. We go position by position, ranking each group, and then breaking it down in a larger sense for the various types of leagues that you might be in, be it best ball, superflex dynasty, whatever it is, we've got you covered. So the DFSARMY on DFSARMY.com for DFSARMY subscribers, you could just go to the NFL season long tab on DFSARMY.com and click on the draft kit, and you will get all kinds of sexy goodness.
All right, man. Until next time.
A naked picture of Sez in there.
You don't want that
at the top.
You don't want that.
Let me know.
All right, man.
We can pull it if it's off-putting. All right, that'll do it for the Bowl Call podcast. For myself, Kevin Allen, and my man, Season Long Says. We'll see you next time. Good luck, everyone.
Got the best coaches in the game. We really ain't playing. We regroup up in the Slack chat with the coach.